From BBC Learning English, this is Learning English from the News, our podcast about the news headlines.
In this programme, violence erupts in Mexico after cartel leader killed.
Hello, I'm Georgie.
And I'm Phil.
In this programme, we look at one big news story and the vocabulary in the headlines that will help you understand it.
You can find all the vocabulary and headlines from this episode, as well as a worksheet on our website, bbclearningenglish.com.
OK, Phil, let's hear more about this story.
Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, head of one of the biggest illegal drug trafficking organizations in Mexico, was killed by Mexican security forces on Sunday.
Following his death, violence erupted across a number of Mexican states, leading to the death of at least 74 people.
Over 9,500 troops have been deployed across the country in response to the violence. President Claudia Sheinbaum has said that normality has returned, but several foreign governments are still warning against travel to some states.
The US government had offered a reward of $15 million for information leading to El Mencho's capture.
The Trump administration had declared El Mencho's group to be a foreign terrorist organisation and committed themselves to their total elimination.
OK, let's have our first headline, Phil.
Yes, this is from Fox News, a US news organisation. Trump's total elimination strategy paved way for fall of cartel kingpin El Mencho.
And that headline again from Fox News. Trump's total elimination strategy paved way for fall of cartel kingpin El Mencho.
The headline writer believes that the approach of the Trump administration in the US ultimately led to the success of the Mexican operation.
And we're going to learn the expression pave the way. The word pave does have a literal meaning, which is to make a concrete or stone path for people to walk or drive on.
But when we see pave the way like this in the news, it's usually a metaphor, and the metaphor means to make something possible.
Yes, a government policy or initiative can pave the way for things to happen. They make things possible. We usually use this phrase in a positive sense.
You'll notice that in the headline it's just pave way, and that's because news headlines often leave out articles like the to make things shorter.
We've had pave the way, make something possible.
For example, raising tax has paved the way for increased spending.
This is Learning English from the News, our podcast about the news headlines. Today, we're talking about the killing of a Mexican drug boss.
El Mencho was head of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel.
This group is well known for carrying out attacks on the Mexican military. A previous attempt to arrest El Mencho led to a military helicopter being shot down.
The group is a major supplier of cocaine, fentanyl and methamphetamines to the US market.
And our next headline is about this. It's from The Guardian, a newspaper in the UK. Who was El Mencho, the former police officer who co-founded an ultra-violent cartel in Mexico?
And that headline again from The Guardian. Who was El Mencho, the former police officer who co-founded an ultra-violent cartel in Mexico?
Now, this article explains why El Mencho was an important figure. And Phil, we're going to learn the word cartel.
Yes, the word cartel is often used as it is here to describe the large criminal gangs who control the international drug trade.
It does, however, have a broader meaning. A cartel is a group of companies that decide to work together to keep prices high and increase their profits.
Many countries have laws that make cartels illegal as they're seen as unfair competition.
But there are examples of legal cartels, such as OPEC, an organisation of oil-producing countries that works to influence the supply and price of oil.
But most often when news headlines are talking about cartels, they're talking about large organised drug gangs.
We've had cartel, a large criminal organisation involved in the drug trade, also a group of companies that work together to keep prices high.
For example, authorities are working hard to eliminate drug cartels. This is Learning English from the News from BBC Learning English. We're talking about the killing of Mexican cartel leader El Mencho and the violent scenes that have followed.
At least 74 people have died across Mexico since the operation to capture El Mencho began.
Since El Mencho's death, cars and buses have been set on fire, inmates have been set free from prison, and shops and buildings have been vandalised.
Many flights to Mexican resorts have been cancelled, and foreign governments have advised people not to travel to some states of the country.
Some people have raised questions about what this could mean for the 2026 World Cup, due to kick off in Mexico City in June.
While FIFA has said that they are monitoring the situation, Gianni Infantino, the organisation's president, has said that he is very reassured that the tournament will go well.
And that's what our next headline is about.
This one is from The Telegraph, a newspaper in the UK. World Cup matches in jeopardy after US coordinated hit on Mexican cartel boss.
That headline again from The Telegraph in the UK. World Cup matches in jeopardy after US coordinated hit on Mexican cartel boss.
Now, the writer of this headline is worried about World Cup games due to be held in Mexico. We're going to learn the expression in jeopardy.
Yes, if something is in jeopardy, then it's at risk. The writer here thinks that there could be a risk that the World Cup games in Mexico don't happen.
In jeopardy is a phrase. The noun jeopardy has a similar meaning to the noun risk. And there's a verb, isn't there, Phil? Jeopardise.
Yes, if a business makes a risky decision, they might jeopardise their future profits. They might put their success in jeopardy.
One last thing, be careful with the spelling of this word because it doesn't look the way it sounds. Jeopardy is spelt Jeopardy.
We've had in jeopardy, at risk.
For example, if you invest all your money, you might put your savings in jeopardy.
That's it for this episode of Learning English from the News. We'll be back next week with another news story.
And don't forget to try the worksheet on our website to test what you've learnt. Go to bbclearningenglish.com.
You can also follow us on your favourite social media platform at BBC Learning English.
Goodbye for now.
Bye.